Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to ask a man who is well known to us all. He is one of the foremost economists in Barbados. He has worked quietly behind the scenes with the Barbados Labour Party for a number of years in helping to develop our economic policy. And he is now stepped out of the shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, please, I ask you to stand. I ask you to welcome our political leader. I ask you to welcome Miss Mia Amor Mottley. Surely we can do better than that for our leader. Miss Mia Amor Mottley. Please be seated. So we start back over. I'd like to invite Mr. Ryan Strawn to the podium to introduce the leader of our party. Ryan is one of the foremost economists in Barbados. He has worked with the Barbados Labour Party quietly behind the scenes for a number of years, and he is now stepping in, throwing his hat into the ring for elective politics. So Ryan, the cat is out the bag. Please introduce our leader. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Comrades, it truly is a pleasure to be here this evening. And as Mr. Abrams has indicated, I am seeking the nomination for Christchurch East Central. And I hope that each and every one of you can make it to Dylan Griffith on Wednesday to come and support the work of the Barbados Labour Party. Dylan Griffith, 6:30 on Wednesday evening. Now, I am an economist, and the reason that I am an economist is because Barbados has invested in young people in the past. There was a discussion on this very stage not so long ago, ended about half an hour or so ago, about what it is we need to do as a party to reach young people. We, as a party, we have to make that investment fresh, renew it once more, so that in 15 years, 20 years, there's another young person like myself standing here to introduce who will be the next Prime Minister of this country. But ladies and gentlemen, I left Barbados 10 years ago in December 2005. At that point in time, the economy was strong. Businesses were expanding. There wasn't a question of leadership in this country. The average Barbadian, whether they were a supporter of the Barbados Labour Party or of the Democratic Labour Party, there was a pride in Barbados. There was a pride in Barbados. But that pride came from the fact that the government was looking out for the interests of people. People. And that's what's missing today. Now, I returned to Barbados at the end of 2010. And at that point in time, I had no political ambitions. And I believe that the troubles that we were experiencing, that we would resolve, and we would resolve emphatically. Perhaps that was just wishful thinking at the time, but I felt that as Barbadians, we were capable of doing it. But as time has progressed, as each and every one of us in this room would have come to realize, something very fundamental has changed in Barbados over the last few years. And it starts from a crisis of effective leadership, ladies and gentlemen. Effective leadership is absent in Barbados. And so as I start to speak as the president of the Barbados Economic Society, I did so from the point of view of that investment being made in young people to raise the awareness as to how it would impact the lives of ordinary Barbadians. And so I say to you this evening that the Barbados Labour Party must and will own the recovery of this country's economy. We will do so because we have done so in the past, and we will do it again because methodically we would approach the problem, find the solution, implement it, and just get things done. Now, no doubt, there is a crisis. But in every crisis, there's an opportunity to engage those that are not necessarily full supporters of the party. But so long as we identify the problem and we know the solution, we must enlist people to get things done. And I stand here this evening as an example of that. Because as much as I would have resisted, it has become almost a responsibility now to come on board and make sure that when we win the government, that we have the capacity to deliver for the benefit of the ordinary Barbadian. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I say to you that the leader of our party has demonstrated to me the capacity to reach out, to enlist people to get problems resolved. We have an economic problem. I'm an economist. I don't have all the answers. I don't. But under the leadership of Ms. Mottley, we will get it done. We will find the Barbadians, we will make the investments, and we will get it done. So I say to you again, ladies and gentlemen, as I want to welcome you all here this afternoon and introduce our leader, to say to you that leadership matters. And Mrs. Mottley, together with Ms. Mottley, together with the entire Barbados Labour Party behind her, mobilizing the country of Barbados, we will resolve this economic problem. We will start to deal with some of the social issues as a result of the economic problem, and we will lead this country to a level of prosperity not seen before. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together and welcome the next Prime Minister of Barbados, Miss Mia Mottley.
A good man, but above all else, a courageous man. For he spoke truth to power, not as a BLP, not as a DLP, but as a concerned Barbadian about the state of this country. Thank you, Ryan, for that courage. That is why we encouraged you to come with us, because we liked what we saw. Ladies and gentlemen, it is good to see you. And let me welcome each and every one of you here this afternoon at a critical time in the development of this young nation of ours, for we are still young. In many ways, we are in an unfamiliar place, a place where hope and a better future are genuinely in doubt for the first time since 1966. A place that, as you just heard from Ryan, that 7 years ago was unimaginable to most Barbadians. Indeed, It is as if we have gone back in time, back to a time when Grantley Adams, as leader of this great party, was fighting for better social conditions, for a population besieged by low wages, housing shortages, expensive food, few opportunities, and a lack of justice. Does it sound familiar? You know that whenever the members of this government are fearful that I am going to be critical of their policies or their lack of achievement, they label me as a purveyor of doom and gloom. The truth is, however, is that wherever I go, people are stopping and asking me, what are we going to really do? How much more these people expect us to take? How much longer the got? And my own personal favorite, these fellas ain't got a clue. We just waiting for elections to call. You hear it, I hear it. So why are we here today? We have come as a party to let you know that we all know things are tight, things tough, but we ask you to make an enemy of despair. We ask you today to embrace hope. We ask you to join us in returning our people to hope. There is an alternative in this fair land of ours. And that alternative is in the fine men and women on this platform and throughout this crowd that the Barbados Labour Party will bring to you whenever that bell is called. For we are closer to the next election than we are from the last one. Remember that. We have gotten through crises before as a people. We truly have. And I'm glad to see some of the stalwarts of this party here with us because they were present. And it wasn't only a Barbados Labour Party that carried this country through crises. There was a Democratic Labour Party that used to carry this country through crises. So that the problem is not simply a party. The problem is an absence of inspired, competent, and decisive leadership. It is not any global economic crisis. And with that in mind, I challenge you both as individuals and as members of this great party with a simple idea. What can we do today that we will thank ourselves for tomorrow? I want you to think on that. What is each of us prepared to do today that we will thank our future self for? Because action starts with each and every one of us. And while you ponder, let me remind you of the words of that great Caribbean Nobel laureate, Sir Arthur Lewis, who said, and I quote, "Only good choices are free. Bad ones always come with a cost." Only good choices are free. Bad ones always come with a cost. I think you will agree that Barbados is paying a very, very heavy price for the bad choices of this government. And I will tell you where I think we need to start. And I'm not going to impose unduly on your time this evening, because everyone knows what they are facing and feeling in this country. If you are anything like me, the truth is you are suffering from dissatisfaction fatigue. In fact, there is a sense that the entire country is overwhelmed by post-traumatic stress syndrome. The only problem is that in our case, the stress is still with us. Too many of you here have expressed how dissatisfied you are. To the people in the north and the east, you have expressed your dissatisfaction that when you turn on your taps, there is only the sound of rushing air. Too many of you have expressed how disappointed you are when you track down to the National Insurance Scheme, only to hear that your claim, whether it is unemployment or pension, has not yet been processed. Too many are still searching in vain for a job. Too many are still being paid late when the months come, not always because you have a wicked employer, but because they simply do not have the cash flow. And too many are trying to unfair workers, but the worst unfair of all is the government of Barbados, who is breaching its own protocol, having set itself as the employer to be the model employer, but has triggered in this year alone more industrial disputes than any other single sector in this country. Too many have to look into your children's eyes and wonder how you're going to make them ends meet. What you're going to give them. Wednesday night I reminded people that I saw people in Bush Hall move from going to Popular and to supermarkets to buy weekly to now going to Ashton and Ross on the Yard Gap, the two shops, and now buying tonight for tomorrow. And if they don't have money for tonight, nothing for tomorrow. Too many wake up in this country each morning and wonder what the future holds for them. Too many wonder, when will the Attorney General of this country recognize that it is now commonplace for every Friday since the last Friday in September for a person, an employer, a businessman to be shot on a Friday, and not a fellow opens his mouth as if this is now commonplace in this country. Too many are considering moving and emigrating to greener pastures as they did in the days of a colonial Barbados, and in a Barbados where people simply did not have options. This is no longer a question of party politics or nuances in ideology. This problem goes way beyond meeting budget targets or a high tax state or growing unemployment or the percentage of debt to GDP. This is a dangerous collapse of the order, the infrastructure, the systems that govern our daily lives. And the domino effect is gaining speed with every missed target, every failure to implement, and with every percentage increase in the debt, however occasioned legitimately or for corrupt gains. How we do stop it, you ask, before the last domino falls? The answer lies, as I said, with each and every one of us in this room and in this country. Because there are over 200,000 plus Bajans who have the power to go into a polling box next time and make a decisive difference. And I'm asking you to make that difference. And this party will not bury its head and simply try to be the alternative, because we must truly be the answer to those genuine concerns that I've expressed on behalf of our people. And that is why this party would invite an Adrian Green last night, not to come and sing the tune that we want to hear that is melodic to the ears of the Barbados Labour Party, but to sing and chant the frustrations, the aspirations of a Barbadian people who I watched as I drove here, sitting on the side of the road, talking, not yet sure how they can place themselves in sync with political parties and a political order in this country. And any party that is 77 years old would do well to recognize that low voter turnout comes when people stop listening. And the first thing we must do is to get them to listen to us and us to listen to them. The skeptics, naysayers, and know-it-alls, I say, therefore, this is not about replacing one politician with another or one political party with another. This, first and foremost, is about saving our country and our quality of life. This is about preserving the hard work of generations that have gone before us and who never dreamt that this day would come in our country. This is about giving hope to those still along the journey and providing prosperity yet again for generations before us. It is about valuing and building up human capital. It is about encouraging domestic investment. It is about increasing production and demanding and maximizing the use of first world communications technology. It is about making sure that workers feel valued in this country again and that they are not the first option to cut in costs. It is about restoring confidence, hope, and trust to our people. And where do we start? Where does this party start? The members of parliament, your representatives, your future candidates, your officers, the membership of the Labour Party. We propose to start with a solemn oath, a covenant of hope to the people of this country. And you may ask, what is this covenant of hope? Is it tangible? Is it practical? Is it even doable? And in every case, I say to you a resounding yes. For we as a party must make it clear who we are, what we stand for, and what we will fight for. Barbadians deserve it, and we shall give it to them. We simply can no longer amble along aimlessly like this government, for whom we do not know what they stand for, what they will fight for, and more, who are they? Because the shadows appear now to replace the substantive presence of the MPs. Tomorrow, Sunday, this party will be asked to ratify the Covenant of Hope. And it has at its core 10 principles. I will not disrespect the authority of this party conference by speaking to it now or sharing with you, because the people who constitute the delegates of this conference are the highest decision-making body, and they shall sign off on that covenant tomorrow. But I give you the assurance that whenever it is finished, the 10 principles that we stand for, the kind of society and economy that we want to fight for, will be shared with Barbadians across every parish and every sector, because people must know who and what they are voting for and be confident that we will be held accountable to those beliefs. I am well aware of all that lies before us, but equally, if we do not stand for something, we will fall for anything. I say to you that I give you a solemn promise that with the support and participation of my colleagues, I will give every ounce of my experience, my intellect, my energy, and my love for the job at hand of renewing Barbados and returning hope to our people. I am well aware that the task will be demanding. I am well aware that we even have a high mortality rate for our leaders, for 3 out of 7 have gone to the great beyond. But I know that success is possible. And I know that we have come too far as a nation. And I know that we have sacrificed too much. And I know that we have too much potential to offer the world and to our people to simply capitulate to the mess created by this present-day aberration of the Democratic Labour Party. I therefore enjoin, come through, brethren. I therefore, and I thank you for joining us today. I enjoin all members of this party, take the time and come tomorrow, for it is an important discussion and an important document to share with the people of this country. But I equally enjoin all who will hear my voice in here and outside, when it is published, get a copy. It is not meant to be a manifesto. It is meant to be a statement of principles and a clear vision for the kind of country that we want to build and lead. It premises itself on people power, and people power is the way forward as our colonial past dims and as we mature past the heady idealism of independence to capitalize on the true promise of global citizenry anchored by Barbadian traditional values and roots. We have already stepped through that door of self-determination, and we cannot go back, and we will not go back. It is the duty of this generation to give every citizen the power and the freedom to contribute to the building of their country and their life in a way that is important to them. We have not educated generations of Barbadians since the early 1950s. I said 50s, to preempt their knowledge and experience from building this country. You cannot educate people and treat them as if they are uneducated. I don't know how many of you were fortunate enough to see the interview with our national hero, the Right Excellent Sir Garfield Sobers, during the current tour of Sri Lanka. How many saw it? And those who haven't seen it, go on the net and look for it. I beg you do. It brought tears to my eyes too. And while it was a damning condemnation of the present crop of West Indian cricketers, it touched that chord in me that was far greater than the state of West Indian cricket today, as important as that is to all of us. It spoke, Sir Gary, spoke to the importance of selflessness, loyalty, and commitment, the pride in doing your very best for your country. These are the qualities that must not only be reflected in our cricketers, but in our politicians today, if we are truly to achieve as a country. These are the qualities that the Barbados Labour Party will be looking for in not just our MPs, but in its membership as we seek to rebuild this country. I want to assure you that we will also, as a party, want people who will recognize that we have a duty to reduce the widening gap between the haves and the have-nots in this country. It is an alarming feature over the last 7 years that poverty has increased while wealth has been consolidated in fewer and fewer. In truth and in fact, few mean two or three hands. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against anybody making money in this country. I want all of us to do so. But what I am against is the unfair distribution of capital and profits and opportunities in this country. What I want to see is a Barbados where people say, open the windows to the nation and air the nation. Just like your grandmother tell you, open the windows to the house and air the house. Give people that chance without having to know somebody to call a shot, somebody to make a favor, somebody to make a call. We were on our way to that. We hadn't got there. We were on our way to it. But we have just been carried back decades by a government that is committed to the consolidation of wealth in the hands of eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I can't use the next line because them ain't getting none. I want to make it clear that equity and transparency must be brought to bear to the issue